What is up, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Dave Steals the Show. About 6 months ago, I moved into this place, and I've kind of been trying to put together a proper studio to film my YouTube videos. And for a long time, if you noticed, the walls behind me were just white, plain white. And so I finally got some posters up, which I got for Christmas from my daughters. They're Star Wars posters. I finally got those up. But the thing that I love the most, oh my goodness, guys, you have to see this, is this Millennium Falcon clock. And I'm gonna kind of give you a close-up of this clock. It's absolutely incredible. The detail on it is so beautiful. Look at that thing. If you haven't guessed by now, I'm a big fan of Star Wars, and my kids know that. So they got me some posters, and they got me this beautiful clock, which I love being there. You guys have probably already seen my channel branding name poster thingy behind me. I haven't filmed from this couch too much yet, but that'll come later. I'll be filming from there as well. And so this is kind of my studio right here. It does need some additional lighting, but this is it right here. The studio is small, but it's functional. And you may have noticed some Apple boxes on the desk, and we're going to talk about that right now. All right, so as you can see, I ended up picking up a MacBook Pro. I downsized my iPad Pro from the 12.9 to the 10.5, and we'll talk about that in a second. I picked up an iPhone 8 Plus, and my wife was kind enough to hook me up with a DJI Osmo Mobile. I'm super excited to start using this bad boy right here. I'm gonna be using it to film kind of the sequences around the products that I'm reviewing, and use it to vlog on the daily. So I'm very excited about that. Why did I go all Apple? You know what, let me clean this mess up for a second. Okay, with the clutter out of the way, let's talk about this massive migration over to Apple that I just did. As you guys know, I had the Dell XPS 15, and it was a nightmare for an entire year. It was a nightmare. And so the one thing about MacBook Pros, yes, you will find the occasional issue with a MacBook Pro, but it's not as prevalent as the issues were with the Dell XPS 15s. If you Google or go online or even look at the amount of comments that I got on my videos, you'll see that, oh my God, Dell has some quality control issues. They have some customer service issues, and I was done with that. I rely on my laptop both for my professional job. I work as vice president of a manufacturing company, and for my YouTube channel, which I work on weekly. Both require a laptop that is going to be reliable, that I can depend on with no issues. It's just a workhorse. And any MacBook Pro I've had in the past was just that, a workhorse. They maintain their value very well. This one has the latest Kaby Lake processors, and so I decided to go back to a MacBook Pro, a laptop that I know and can depend on. I know there are people out there who have gotten a Dell XPS 15 and had no issues. That's great. I mean, I'm happy for you guys. It just wasn't the case for me, and so I needed to get a different laptop. Two, I've had the iPad Pro 12.9 inch for a while now, and while it is wonderful to have that screen real estate, it's almost the size of my laptop, and so to have both was just silly. It also was not completely, what's the word I'm looking for, practical to have such a large iPad, especially at night when I just wanted to catch some videos, or when I'm trying to read in bed and I have this massive thing looking down on me and almost falling because it just was so big. It got heavy to hold after a while. And so I ended up making the change there and going back to the smaller iPad. Both are great. You can't go wrong with either, but it just depends on what you're using it for. And lastly, while I loved the Google Pixel 2 XL, and while I love my BlackBerry Key 1, and I still have the BlackBerry Key 1, that's not going anywhere, folks. With a MacBook Pro, with an iPad Pro, it just made sense to just have an Apple phone as well. So I picked up an iPhone 8 Plus. Now, before you start screaming at me and asking me why I didn't go with an iPhone 10, I'm going to tell you. And there's a few reasons why. Number one, the iPhone 10 and the iPhone 8 Plus basically have the same camera. The only difference is that on the iPhone 10, the second camera is stabilized and this one's not. Okay, but I still have my Osmo gimbal, so I'm going to be using that as my stabilizer, and so I didn't feel I needed that second optically stabilized camera. That's one. Two, the notch. I don't know how people say, oh, after a while I don't notice it anymore. Apps are not optimized for the iPhone 10 screen yet. I'm sure they will be at some point in the future. Videos cut off part of what you're viewing, and so you can either choose to have it partially cut off, or you can minimize it, which defeats the whole purpose of the larger screen. 3 is the size of the phone. It's too small for me. I know, yes, the screen is bigger, but not technically. If you look at the content that's being viewed on both phones, you'll notice that you actually get a little more real estate on the iPhone 8 Plus than on the iPhone 10, even though the iPhone 10 screen is bigger. I feel like it's almost zoomed in, so they give you this bigger screen, but they zoom in on the content a little more than they do on the iPhone 8 Plus, and you get more on the iPhone 8 Plus, if that makes sense at all. Check it out. Let me know what you guys think. Let me know in the comments below if you've compared and what you guys think. And then lastly is the form factor. I don't like the shape of the iPhone 10. It reminds me of the iPhone 3, holding the iPhone 3G, if you guys had that one, or an iPod, one of the original iPods, if you remember those. So I'm not crazy about the shape. So with all those things being said, I decided to go with an iPhone 8 Plus. I love it. It's wonderful. It works. And so I have completely dipped into the Apple juice, so to speak, and I haven't had an issue so far. Now, it's only been a few days, probably closer to a week now, and I'm super happy, guys. I'm telling you, I was a little skeptical at first because I made a complete change across the board, and that can be scary for somebody. But for somebody who changes phones and tech as much as I do, it was pretty seamless. And Apple stuff is just very easy to set up, very easy to use. They do that on purpose, and so that's why I'm okay with where I'm at. So I'm gonna be sticking all Apple all the time for a little while at least, and I'm gonna see if the Galaxy S9 will entice me to leave my iPhone 8 Plus, but we'll see. It's gonna be announced in the next month or two, and then we'll see where we go from there. But for now, all Apple all the time. Thank you for sticking with me. I hope you enjoy the studio. There's still a lot to do in here, but it's coming along. If this is the first time you're stopping by, welcome to my channel where I vlog my life and I review my tech. If you have any questions, leave them below. I'm gonna be doing a Q&A probably in the next coming weeks. And so if you have any questions, leave them below, and I will talk to you all at the next episode.